New babe.
So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel, man. Salute. So listen, we're back with another BuzzFeed Unsolved, the channel where they take deep dives in some of the most notorious unsolved cases, right? Ryan and Shane try to dig into them, add a little humor to it as well at the same time, but they take a look back into these cases and try to figure them out and sort them out. Today's case we're checking out is the tragic murder of JonBenét Ramsey. All right, I'm not sure if I got that name right. In time that little is over the E, I struggle a little bit. I try to figure it out. But yeah, we're gonna look back at this tragic murder. So if you're new to the channel, man, hit the subscribe button. I want to say salute to everybody, man. We're continuously growing each and every day, man. Seeing a whole lot of love in the comment section from you guys, and I want to return it, man. Much love to each and every one of you, man. And we cannot forget our fellow haters. We got to show them some love. So what we tell them to do? Run the likes up, baby. Let's get to the video.
This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we discuss the death of JonBenét Ramsey, a case that to this day still captivates the nation. I gotta say,
look at Shane already looking skeptical.
This one really gives me the creeps.
It's not fun.
No, it's not fun. A child died.
I'm not stoked here.
No, I'm not stoked, but everyone seems to want to hear about it, so here we go. On the morning of December 26, 1996, in Boulder, Colorado, Patsy Ramsey claimed to discover a ransom note for her 6-year-old daughter, JonBenét Ramsey, on the back staircase inside the house. This prompted Patsy Ramsey to call the police.
I thought this was about a dude. I didn't know this was about a little girl, man. Did the thumbnails? I didn't even pay attention to the thumbnail. I jumped into this so quick. I have to look back, but yeah, this totally throws a loop. Now, let me refocus now that it's dealing with a little girl.
Claimed to discover a ransom note for her 6-year-old daughter, JonBenét Ramsey, on the back staircase inside the house. This prompted Patsy Ramsey to call the police at 5:52 a.m. to report JonBenét as missing. The people inside the house at the time were John Ramsey, her father, Patsy Ramsey, her mother, and Burke Ramsey, her 9-year-old brother. Bizarrely, the body of JonBenét Ramsey was found less than 8 hours later. And even stranger, the body was found inside the Ramsey residence, in the utility room in the basement. The body was found by JonBenét's father. She was found with duct tape over her mouth and a smooth cord around her neck.
Now, let's not automatically rule the mom out because she was the one that made the initial call. Sometimes we mess up that way and alleviate her first sometimes. You get what I'm saying? So let's not do that first. Everybody in this house is a suspect at this point.
It is widely reported that the crime scene was heavily compromised by people arriving at the scene. The police later claimed that they had not searched the house after Patsy's call because there was no reason to believe from the ransom note that JonBenét was in the house. At the time of her death, JonBenét Ramsey was a well-decorated beauty pageant competitor, having won at least 5 high-profile competitions. Her death was ruled a homicide. Strange, right?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's peculiar. I mean, I'm trying to think of, I've read a lot of these cases. I can't recall one case where the missing person was inside the house.
It's spooky.
It is spooky.
Have you checked the children?
The autopsy found that JonBenét was bludgeoned to death, while the county coroner ruled that JonBenét had died of asphyxiation caused by being strangled. A paintbrush from Patsy's hobby kit was used to tighten the rope that strangled JonBenét. There was DNA found on JonBenét's long johns and underwear, both belonging to a single unidentified man, who when compared to the FBI's database of convicted violent offenders in 2004, was not found among 1.5 million samples.
When you say DNA?
Oh, it's not like that.
Okay.
No, not like that.
I want to be, how gross we were getting here.
There were 2 sets of unidentified footprints found at the scene. There was a rope found close by JonBenét's bedroom that did not belong to the Ramseys. However, as of 2006, the rope had never been tested. If somebody broke into the house, they did so cleanly, as there was no footsteps in the snow outside the house, as well as
So that automatically makes me think it's somebody y'all know. No footsteps to the house. Y'all couldn't hear it. Somebody automatically knew where to probably go, where to stash at. That's why I say be careful of who you let in your house. You know what I'm saying? Be careful who you let in your house. This gotta be somebody they either knew or we still haven't ruled out the family members yet.
Was no sign of forced entry.
This is Colorado, right?
It's snowing. I mean, conceivably, maybe the snow got covered up,
No.
but there's also.
I know snow. You don't know snow because
you-
you're a Southern California
Oh, you're gonna
Lily,
pull this
but
card now from your Chicago, from the Windy City, and I don't know anything about weather because
We know
us
snow out
Californians
there.
have
We
it
know
so
snow.
nice. It's not that hard. It falls from the sky and it hits the ground.
There's some
fucking
nuance
history?
to it. There's some intricacy, and if
Such as what?
oh, you don't even know.
Let's move on to the contents of the ransom note. The note requested $118,000 in exchange for JonBenét Ramsey.
Strange.
Why is that strange?
Weird
I
number.
was about to say a weird number, yeah. Odd number. I was gonna say the same thing. 118. It seems like a specific number. Like if somebody telling you you owe 118,000 left on your house, you ask specifically for 118. That's what it seems like.
Number.
Oh, I guess it is very specific. Actually, we're going to touch on why that may be so specific.
This is my
later.
detective brain. This is what I'm telling you about.
I think it is.
Did
and
that number stick
you're-
out to you the first time?
It did, but I think you're tooting your own horn a little bit too much.
Shame the brain.
Okay. With the exchange to take place the next day between 8 and 10 a.m., the highly scrutinized note starts with, quote, Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your business, but not the country that it serves, end quote. A strange declaration that would ultimately lead nowhere.
If you're sending someone a ransom note, I would imagine you would want to put in as little detail as possible.
That's true.
I'm not going to say, Dear Mr. Ramsey, it's me, a tall fellow.
It almost seems
And the Dear Mr. Ramsey part gets me too. Like, who addresses, I'm not too familiar with ransom notes, so I could be totally off here, but the whole Dear Mr. Ramsey, like, why am I being so nice and polite in the introduction to this ransom note? Like, no, I would figure, like, it gets straight to the point. We have this, we want this, you know what I'm saying?
cartoony. Almost as if it was fake. Let's move on. Here's another excerpt. Quote, the two gentlemen watching over your daughter do not particularly like you, so I advise you not to provoke them. Speaking to anyone about your situation, such as police or FBI, will result in your daughter being beheaded.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
What?
it's a fucking ransom note. You can try to deceive us, but be warned that we are familiar with law enforcement countermeasures and tactics. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. Follow our instructions, and you stand a 100% chance of getting her back.
Fucking mathematician over here.
I know, this guy is a smug piece
I've
of shit.
crunched the numbers.
I've run the permutations through my little computer, and all of them say, you're fucked.
My murder laptop.
Murder laptop. The letter was signed SBTC, initials that still remain a mystery. One curious fact is that the sum of $118,000 was close to the amount that John Ramsey received for a bonus that year. That's when you asked the question about the specificity of the number.
Yeah,
There it is.
I've connected the two.
So now I'm looking at him and think back. He was the one that found her. You know what I'm saying? You receive a ransom note. Do you go looking for your child? That's kind of weird too.
Dots.
You didn't connect shit, but
I've connected them.
And when I say go looking for, of course you go looking for, but I mean, do you go down and look for her in the crawl space or basement or wherever she was found at? No, you're thinking in ransom, somebody has her. So she's not here.
However, the most chilling fact about the ransom note was that it was determined that the note was written using pen and paper from inside the house. While this detail is absolutely horrifying, it also brought a lot of suspicion into the integrity of the note. This suggests that the killer somehow entered the house, wrote the note inside, and for some reason then killed JonBenét Ramsey after writing a ransom note. All of this occurring while the other three Ramsey family members were inside the house.
I feel like I've been in some big houses where you could be at one end, someone in the other end could be straight up murdering a human being and you wouldn't even know.
Would you take that kind of a risk as a killer to do all these weird little things inside the house?
Yes.
Analysis of the notepad used suggested that a practice letter was written, and part of a practice note was found. There were spelling errors in the letter on words thought to be easy, like possession, yet some wonder how words such as attaché.
A practice letter inside the house, bro. This is pointing more and more to the family.
With an accent on the E were spelled correctly. Some believe this adds up to the letter being a hoax, and when combined with the lack of evidence of an intruder, this case becomes even more puzzling.
Maybe the practice letter was just sort of, you know, when you write like a banner and you write with a big marker and then
when you're making the big
you've got
old
like 3 letters to squeeze in at the end and it looks all shitty.
Are you under the impression he wrote this in bubbly letters?
No, I'm just saying maybe he was spacing it out.
It's a notepad. He doesn't need to space it out.
Okay, then I don't understand the practice.
No, neither do I. That's the point.
Jesus, I don't understand the beheading. What is that all about?
With that, let's get into the suspects, starting with the Ramseys themselves. In the early goings of the case, the Ramsey family was under heavy scrutiny, given the suspicions of the ransom note's authenticity and the little evidence to suggest an intruder. The actual person responsible for the murder varies depending on who is theorizing. A recent television program claims that police theorized that Patsy accidentally killed JonBenét. That same program also posited that Burke Ramsey, JonBenét's 9-year-old little brother, accidentally killed JonBenét as well. However, for Patsy or Burke to be the culprit, not only would the note have to be staged, but so would the strangulation. And that doesn't add up when you consider the evidence suggests that JonBenét was still alive as she was being strangled. Furthermore, handwriting analysis also ruled out John Ramsey and ruled Patsy Ramsey as inconclusive. Experts believe the signs are more consistent with child abduction and murder done by an intruder. Fascinatingly, in 2013, it came to light that in 1999, a grand jury had voted to indict JonBenét's parents on charges of child abuse resulting in death. However, the Boulder District Attorney at the time, Alex Hunter, did not sign the indictment, believing that there was not enough evidence to support the charges. Casting further doubt on this theory is the fact that the DNA evidence procured from the crime scene officially exonerated the entire Ramsey family. You could see why people would think it may be one of them in the family, though, because if it was indeed an accident, you would have to cover it up, you would have to write a note. Which brings us to our first non-Ramsey suspect, a local man named Bill McReynolds who had visited the Ramsey house 2 days before JonBenét's murder. He sometimes dressed up as Santa Claus. His own daughter had been kidnapped 22 years before the JonBenét murder. His wife had written a play about a child getting molested and then murdered in a basement. According to the Denver Post, this man felt close to JonBenét. Here's a quote from him. Quote, "Her murder was harder on me than my operation. She made a profound change in me." End quote. McReynolds even brought a vial of glitter gifted to him by JonBenét into heart surgery. The gift had been meaningful to him since no child had ever given him a gift while playing Santa. He even asked his wife to mix the glitter with his ashes if he were to die.
I don't like this man.
At all, fam. At all. And it's too many things coincidentally that ties to this. Her like him, Santa, the glitter, what she wrote, his wife wrote. It's too many things that's parallel to this case about this dude here. And we still can't rule the family out because they could have hired him to do it. They could have, I still don't rule them out.
Also could be just the acts of a kind old man.
It is up until him wanting her glitter mixed with his ashes.
Fair. I tell you what, did he murder her? Maybe not. Is the glitter with your ashes a weird thing to ask for?
It's the
Absolutely.
weirdest.
That's very weird. I don't like that at all.
No.
And I wish I didn't know it, but now it's in my brain. And now it's in all your brains, whoever's watching this.
Deal with it.
However, beyond these sensationalized details, which can also be interpreted as the acts of a friendly old man, there's nothing to suggest McReynolds as the murderer. The next suspect is Gary Oliva, a man who lived a few blocks away from the Ramsey home at the time of the murder. In 2016, Oliva was arrested on charges of child pornography.
This is why
December of
it's another reason to know where the sex offenders are in your area.
2000, Oliva was arrested on unrelated drug charges and was found to be carrying a photo of JonBenét in his backpack. He explained why he had the photo to the Denver Post. Quote, JonBenét's murder touched me very deeply. I felt she was an exceptional girl whose death was an exceptional loss. I felt the need to build a monument, a shrine, to remember this little girl.
Oh, I don't like
End quote.
Ryan. I know everybody wanted to hear about.
And see, he should know better than that. Even if if you're telling the truth, bro, with your prior convictions and situation, fam, you shouldn't have nothing like that carrying around because it's gonna implicate you. But I don't like that. I don't.
This case, but I don't want to anymore. I'm done.
Touching on the suspect, this guy's very suspicious.
Yeah, Ryan, he is.
And it's gonna get worse.
Why?
A high school friend of Oliva named Michael Vale revealed in an interview with In Touch magazine that Oliva called him a day after the murder occurred and said, quote, I heard a little girl, end quote. According to Vale, Oliva also revealed the location of where he had hurt this girl, Boulder, Colorado, after which Oliva hung up the phone. This is interesting if true because records show that no other girl other than JonBenét was harmed in that area that night. Vale also revealed that the strangulation method used on JonBenét was also allegedly used by Oliva when Oliva attempted to strangle his own mother with a telephone cord.
Why would someone make that up?
I don't know. You got to imagine these people, since the story's so sensationalized, they would get paid to give an interview, right? An exclusive, because it is an exclusive with In Touch, which we all know is the major true crime publication of the United States.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, Gary Oliva was also not a match to the DNA evidence. The final suspect is John Mark Carr, a divorced.
Oh.
You don't even like his name? Do you not like people with their names?
I remember this fucking guy.
Okay. A divorced father and elementary school teacher, Carr did not become a suspect until nearly 10 years after the murder, when he confessed to the murder via email to a journalism professor named Michael Tracy. Tracy had emailed back and forth with Carr for 4 years in order to gain his trust.
That's good journalism.
It's good journalism, but I mean, you gotta imagine it takes a toll on you emotionally.
Yeah, to have a weird pen pal like that.
A weird pen pal, yeah, that's a good way to say it.
I just don't know what you say to someone for 4 years.
Hey, do you know anything about that kid that got killed in Colorado?
No one's ever asked me if I murdered anyone.
Maybe they're not asking the right questions. Tracy said this of the experience, quote, you are reading and hearing a truly dark side of the human psyche, and having to pretend it's okay that I wasn't going to sit in judgment, because otherwise the communication would have stopped. This is the worst experience of my life by far. It was horrible. End quote.
Was he also pretending to be a weirdo?
He had to have been, right?
Was he like, yeah, man, I'm a journalist, but I'm a sicko, trust me. Trust me, I'm a sicko.
That's all he said over and over again. That's
For 4 years, trust me, I'm a sicko. Write me back.
Judging from the character of this guy that you'll learn later, John Mark Carr, I don't think it's going to take a lot to outfox him, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember this dum-dum.
In his emails, Carr used similar wording as the ransom note. At one point, he used Patsy's mother's nickname in an email, Nettie, and it was bizarre that he would even know that. Carr would eventually write that he was in love with JonBenét, and would later confess to hitting JonBenét in the head with a flashlight. Here's some of the email. Quote, she of course was asleep from the time that I took her from her bed and took her into the basement. Her first reaction was, where am I? And I said, you're in your basement. She wasn't in that little room to be disgraced, and I would never disgrace her or dishonor her. She was there temporarily, and what really hurts me is that she stayed there, and that's where her father found her, and it's just a horrible thing. End quote.
Jeez. Ah. Yeah, bro, this. I'm confused. I'm so thrown off right now, as you can see.
I'm just getting kind of bummed out and sad, but we'll keep going here.
That's what I'm saying. Like, same way, bro. I feel the same way. This is crazy.
On August 16th, 2008, with the help of British intelligence, the Royal Thai authorities, and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, they were able to track down Carr in Bangkok, Thailand, where he had traveled to from the U.S. to escape child pornography charges in California. A few months after this confession, Boulder County District Attorney Mary Lacey issued a formal apology to John Ramsey for the suspicion his family had lived with and said that no one in the Ramsey family is considered a suspect. Carr's DNA did not match the DNA found on the scene, and he was not charged with the murder. However, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security continued to investigate John Mark Carr. He had always maintained that he had not acted alone. If you'll recall, there were 2 sets of unidentified footprints found at the scene. It's worth mentioning that former Boulder Police Chief Mark Beckner, the lead investigator on the JonBenét Ramsey case for a time, said in a Reddit AMA in regards to John Mark Carr that, quote, his confession once they shared it with us did not match the evidence at the scene. We knew in about 18 hours he was not the guy. We were able to confirm he was not even in Colorado at the time by just doing some routine checking and then obtained photos of him in Georgia at the time, end quote. I think in all these cases, you just want justice to be served so badly that you just kind of want to just plug in the holes.
On this one, though, I don't want...
And we shouldn't feel bad about that because I'd be quick to say it's him. It's him because that inside of you wants that to happen. You know what I'm saying? You want justice. You want that little girl's killer to be caught and something to happen to him. You know what I'm saying? So you automatically start looking at people. I guess that's why they have trained professionals doing the job and not me.
If he's just lying, I don't want him to get what he wants.
Yeah, it's true. If you are the kind of person that wants to take credit for a child murder,
yeah,
I don't know if we want to give him that satisfaction if you didn't do it.
No, you don't get prison, you weirdo.
Now that we've looked at the suspects, I'd like to point out that in a recent CBS program, DNA expert Dr. Henry Lee, best known from the O.J. Simpson case, studied the DNA from the JonBenét scene. Dr. Lee found that JonBenét's underwear may have held transfer DNA from the manufacture process, and proved this by testing an unopened bag of underwear, which also had foreign DNA on them. The CBS program concluded that the DNA from the crime scene was therefore fallacious, meaning that conceivably, any of the listed suspects could possibly be the killer.
Oh shit.
So basically,
everybody's back on the table now. And I wasn't quick to say the family is off the hook, by the way.
It's just making the case even more open-ended than we already thought it was.
Yeah, because DNA was ruling out a bunch of other people.
Yeah, so it could conceivably be anyone.
Well, what the fuck are we doing here,
Well,
man?
that's why it's unsolved.
Why?
There's a reason why it's unsolved. In the end, nobody truly knows what happened to JonBenét Ramsey. The odd details of the case will likely forever cloud the truth, and the case tragically remains unsolved.
Wow. That's scary, bro. That is scary, man. Make sure y'all are on top of the sex offenders in your area, man. And you're keeping your kids close, man. Making sure everything is locked down at night. Whatever you got to do, motion sensors outside, different things. So you know if somebody enters your house, man. Get a pet as well. I strongly suggest getting a pet. You never want to have no situations like this, but this is scary, man. This is scary. Y'all get at me in the comment section, man. Let me know what y'all think. Who do y'all think did it? Do you feel strongly about either one of those suspects, man? Like I said, I still don't rule the family out. And the guy who dressed up as Santa, plus the guy at the end, the last guy. So it's crazy, man. Y'all get at me. Let me know what you think. Until next reaction, I'm out. Peace. Y'all stay solid. Hey.